We have an ambitious plan, which includes the Claire Chapin Epps YMCA, and that being our flagship, and that was our first building we built. And as you all know, we've been way behind the curve, particularly in Horry County, with keeping up with the growth, but we're going to catch up very quickly, we hope. So I have shared with most of the council our dreams and hopes. Many of you have had your fingerprints on the plan, and we'll show you in a few minutes. And it's going to take me about 10 minutes to run through it. I think Fox and the mayor said I had about 7 minutes. I'll at least take 10 if I could. But anyway, let's turn our attention to the video if we could, or no video, I guess. But so we talked to the community for over a year about the focus the Y should have.
And there's a clicker there.
There's a clicker on the.
There's a clicker. There should be a clicker there. The middle button.
We're still on this one. Okay. So we spent about a year and a half planning what you see here with 5 focuses to the community. And what I so love about this, it addresses things that we as a community have ahead of us, both now and going forward for the future. Community health is a big part of what we do. At the Claire Chapin Epps YMCA yesterday, we had 60 people in our Power with Parkinson's program. Individuals, and now they're walking. Safety around water, water aerobics. I can go through the list of things around that we want to do going forward. Mental wellness. I don't need to tell you, but so many of our families and kids today are struggling mentally. When we do our sports programs on Saturday, that's mental wellness. That brings families together that otherwise wouldn't have time together. And they leave better, particularly if they win. Third area is college, career, and teen readiness. We're partnering now with Horry Georgetown Tech, Horry County School District, and Coastal Carolina to advance that. We now have almost 15 sites around the Coastal Carolina area before and after school care. And we're going to be doing more of that over the next 5 years. That's going to take facilities and buildings to do that. The fourth one is related to our kids from 1-year-old to 4-year-olds. That's getting kids ready for first grade and kindergarten. About 60% of our kids in South Carolina aren't ready for first grade. Many don't know their colors, their numbers, and we've started the first ever Leadership Academy on the campus of Coastal Carolina University. We hope to duplicate that, including one at the Claire YMCA, which I'm going to talk with you about in a few minutes. And then finally, Hatton's already talked about is water safety. Drowning, we should never have a child or an adult drown in this community. We're a beach community, we're a river community. We have so many here that need the services of our partnership. So the duck, even though we laugh about it, that gets people's attention and it gets people's energy around what we can do. Let's go to the next one. So during those 2 years, we had a significant group of leaders that were involved. You can see our list of board members here. Penny's been the chair of that. We have a strong planning committee that put this together. You see those names here. So we spent that year getting their feedback and your feedback that put those 5 areas together. This is the group that I'm probably, in my career, most proud. We have 50 leaders that have said yes to join our vision cabinet. And this group represents all of Horry, Georgetown, and Williamsburg County, which is our service area. This group of 50 leaders, and you can see that in front of you, have said yes to help us over the next 5 years launch into a very ambitious investment campaign for the Coastal Carolina area. And it's ambitious. It's probably one of the largest in the state, and actually as a YMCA, one of the largest in the country. So you as a community and a city should be proud that this group has taken on the leadership to move this to the next level. So David, what does this call for? Let's go to the next one. It calls for a great team. So we built over the last year and a half a great leadership team, most of which is here today. And you can see we have Hatton, who represents our work around our development. We're heavily focused on youth development, work around our faith and chaplaincy program. We have a new chief financial officer, chief operations officer, And we have a chief people officer who, by the way, actually came from North Myrtle Beach and was with the city there for 20 years. So we have a great team assembled and a new property executive too that will be working with all of our properties, including the Clare YMCA. Next. So we had to go and find the best in the country that work with YMCAs and partnerships. So the group that's been identified is GROW, G-R-O. And GROW is now working with 90 YMCAs. Over half of those are with partnership municipalities, working with cities, counties on developing new YMCAs around the region. They're located in New York. They've done over 600 YMCAs in America. I've worked with them very closely in both Kansas City and Nashville when we did our partnerships there and built the new Ys there. And so they are the blue ribbon. Now what they do is they do not replace local contractors or local architects. What they do is help dream for the buildings and the facilities going forward, going from the modernization look that we as a city and a community want to see, including the Clare YMCA that was built again 17 years ago. 2 years ago, we had 3 locations. We had the Clare Chapin Epps YMCA, we had the Georgetown YMCA, and we had Pawleys Island YMCA. All of those have been very successful. In the last 2 years, we've had some of the best financial years of our history, which essentially meant that we're able to put more back into financial assistance. 40 to 50% of our members and program participants are on financial assistance. So not everyone pays, but we do have a great sustainable model with membership, but we also have to have fundraising as well as program fees. So as we grow, you can see over the last year the growth we've had, the new program sites that we've implemented, and we're now in Williamsburg County. So we're actually doing work in Williamsburg County. If you've not had a chance to go to Williamsburg County lately, third poorest county in South Carolina. It's one that is in tremendous need. We've got an executive director there, and we're now managing with them the park and recreation facilities to program and service the area down there as a partner. Very exciting opportunity. A lot of YMCAs work very closely with park and recreation like we've done here, and so we do not want to compete, we want to complement. Next. You can see the new sites that we have ahead of us. We're in the development stages of a Conway YMCA, a North Myrtle Beach YMCA. Clare, you'll see, we'll talk about our renovation expansion. We now have a site assembled in Carolina Forest, Saybrook, and Murrells Inlet. So it's a very, very ambitious plan. That group of 50 leaders will be the ones that will be developing it for us. We have some very quiet commitments, literally in the millions right now that we have committed already, but it is a very big undertaking. So having local representation, local state representation, local federal representation is big. The federal government last year gave the YMCAs in the United States $300 million. We've never gone after that in the state of South Carolina. We will be doing that as far, and also with the state of South Carolina, because all this funding that we're talking about cannot come here out of the local Myrtle Beach community. We just have to go to other places with these partnerships. Next. So our existing centers, we're going to focus on what we have now. We're very excited about an expansion project we'd like to do at the Epps YMCA. We see extensive usage by our active older adults and our teen programs, as well as the idea of a generational center. And the generational center would be designed for kids 0 to 4 years old. It'd be licensed for about 150 children, potentially, and the idea of hosting that in an all-day center similar to the Coastal model. We'll be using the curriculum of Coastal, Carolina, and or Georgetown Tech as a learning center and a lab, and that will be duplicated, we hope, in every one of these locations around the region. And these would be about 10,000 square feet in nature. And then we'd also have their teen space, as well as the idea of an active older adult center. What's an active older adult center, David? That starts at about 7 o'clock in the morning, that goes till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Older adults can spend 2 to 3 hours a day there for programming, health services, and other kinds of things. And then at 3 o'clock, it becomes a teen center. So it's multi-usage concept. Next. You can see the impact that Clare Ys made just recently. 2,000 kids this last year in our Learn and Swim safety program. youth sports, 12 to 1,400 there, kids in our after-school programs. We have many residents on our, when the deal was done with the city, we gave 20% discount, so we have over 500 memberships now. We have about 3,000 memberships there at the Claire Y currently, so you can see the percentage of the city residents that we're supporting already. And if you go back 17 years, thousands and thousands and thousands have been supported through that partnership with the city. That's why we love municipal partnerships. Next, the Georgetown Y. The Georgetown Y was built at the same time. We plan there to add a gymnasium facility and a youth development center there, updating the locker rooms and the lobby and so forth at that facility. It's located off Brennan's Ferry Road, and that's well underway now with the planning for that one. This is the Carolina Forest site. Comes off the Highway 31 interchange. This is a piece of land of 22 acres. We'd be glad to provide you more detail about this if you like, but this is in partnership with Tidelands Health. They own that property. They plan to put about a 60 to 70,000 square foot expanded medical services there, and we would locate a YMCA. Now, the uniqueness of this property is that we hope to build there a 50-meter indoor swimming regional natatorium. That natatorium would be very specific to bringing kids and families there for swim meets. As you know, the Horry County Schools has no pool. So this will be the home base, we hope, for the teams. Also, it will be designed with a bulkhead, and what that essentially means is, and I've had several of these in my career, a bulkhead breaks it down to 25 meters so you can do other kind of meets in there. So when people say, I've got an Olympic-sized pool, most of them, that's what they're referring to. We don't have an Olympic-sized pool here. That also brings heads on beds because we want to do state meets, regional meets. There's only one other like it in the state, and it's run by the state of, by the Y in Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're going up and benchmark it, and they do a lot of events there. So you want to come to Myrtle Beach, you want to go to Rock Hill for a meeting. So not to compare, but we've got a lot to sell. That would also have a YMCA. Second one is North Myrtle Beach. If you travel up North Myrtle Beach off Highway 31, there's 24 acres there that Tidelands has as well. We're partnering with them to put a full-service YMCA on that property that would include many of the same amenities, 50 to 60,000 square foot facility there. I don't need to tell any of you that have been around a long time, that area has exploded. There's also a well-done community center there. As you know, they run by the city. It's very, very well done. We've had visits with them also. We may have some potential to partner with them going forward too. Third one is Conway. If you travel up 501 through Conway to where the Walmart is located on the right, Bethel Road there, Tidelands has 24 acres of land there. That's where we plan to put the Conway facility. We have a board working on that now, and we've involved a number of the community leaders in the Conway community. Fourth one is Saybrook. We've been working very closely with the leaders with the Saybrook community, the Jackson Company, meeting with them regularly about a piece of land there at the entrance of 504 going into their neighborhood. Beautiful property, 8 to 10 acres that we're working on, and all these would be land leases. That's how they would work, long-term land leases. And that is typically how new YMCAs are getting built now. Rather than buy property that's expensive, we land lease them, same kind of concept. The final one, which is a little more challenging, is Myrtle's Inlet. Myrtle's Inlet, there's a tract of land off 707 we've been in touch with called the May Track. That's near St. James High School. That has to be rezoned there. Some developers have 1,200 acres, and they're working through that now to see where that goes. So that one we have some work yet to do, but the other 4 have already been assembled. We're working on those now, and so it's a big, ambitious goal, for our community. Candidly and honestly, I'd love for Myrtle Beach to go first. Because of the visibility of the Claire YMCA, I think that would send volumes if we could add this generational center first ahead of anything else. We do have some lead gifts already for some of the other projects, but many of these YMCAs, they're going to be very expensive to build and very expensive to operate. The good news about all 5 of those locations, including Chapin YMCA, I never can get that out, is they're all sustainable. All these have a membership model, and with that membership model, they generate operating surpluses that we can put back into the community. So even though we're not for profit, we can put $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 back in the community for outreach work for those that can't afford the services. So I'm going to stop there, and that's a lot.
Thank you, David.
Fox.
Thank you.
Question.
Stay for a moment. Obviously, David dreams big,
The community has, not just David.
and it's not just David. And it's exciting to see all of those projects laid out and with a vision to accomplish them. Only one of those is technically in the city of Myrtle Beach, but the city will benefit from several of them specifically. Certainly the Saybrook YMCA would be handy to the city, and the natatorium in Carolina Forest is close to the city as well and would serve city residents and bring tourists and visitors to the city too. The city already has a partnership with the YMCA, as you mentioned. The city owns the land under which the Claire Chapin Epps YMCA sits, and you're looking to add, as you described, those facilities. What specifically is your request of the city, if I may ask?
Well,
Your tentative ask, we understand.
we think financial ask.
Yes.
We think the project now, what I didn't go into is the renovation and expansion of the locker rooms, because they've
Right.
got to be expanded, and the lobby has got to have more of a modern look to it. So the two buildings, even though they're going to be separate, will be connected. We've got some early designs done, which we can share with you at some point. We think the total project between those two is going to be in the $5.5 to $6 million range. We love for the city to consider 50% of that.
Okay, thank you.
So $3 million, and we have talked to Chapin and others about that.
We're in the budget process at this point. Just wanted to make sure that we knew specifically what the request was so that we could consider it seriously.
And that can for sure be pledged over 2-3 years, not a one-time commitment.
Oh, that's good to know. So, okay. Council, do you have questions?
Yeah, David,
Hey, Phil.
thank you for coming, for
Sure.
one thing. And you answered my first question with regard to sequencing. You'd like for us to step out, and that's what leaders do. I do have one question down the road. You mentioned Tidelands quite often. The medical university, as I understand, has purchased 85% or has an 85% interest in Tidelands. Is all of that copacetic now with their board, or?
Yeah, we actually are very encouraged by that, Councilman. We have met with them several times. They are very excited about what we can do together. They want to partner together and bring additional services to the area. So, yes, we are excited about that.
Okay.
And met with, Bruce Bailey, the CEO, and have met with leaders there a number of times.
Okay. And again, I appreciate you bringing us a semi-hard number so we can discuss amongst ourselves with some, this is not a pie-in-the-sky thing.
No.
I think the community wants to get this done, but we need hard numbers to work with. So thank you so much for being as specific as you can, and we understand.
We have some very, very high-level conceptual drawings done on this already. We have an architect involved, and builder's given us some numbers. Be happy to give you more detail as you request that. But from a visibility, from a we're going to do this, I think having the city of Myrtle Beach go first would be a blessing, because it would have high visibility and high impact. Well,
Just speaking, just for me, what would be the initial year hard ask as we enter fiscal year 26, 27? What would be 1/3 of 1/2? Is that what you're?
about 1/2. Yeah, if we had 1/2 going into this year, that
What,
would,
1/2 of the 1/3?
yeah. So
If the total request is in the $3 million neighborhood, you'd like to have a 1.5 at this point?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That'd be my ask. You all have tremendous competing priorities.
Yes.
I know you do, and we're just honored and humbled you put us in that mix.
David, there were councils before that, this is Myrtle Beach, and again, that's our primary responsibility, but we appreciate, the 7 of us, the reach that y'all have, and you benefit more than just the citizens of Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And I think you've set up a great model for other organizations to collaborate.
Yeah.
Your team has collaborated beyond any boundaries that I've seen any other organization do in our community.
Maybe one of the things that was said to me by been here 40 years, said that the beauty of what we put together, the entire county wins. Conway, North Myrtle Beach, not just one piece of it. And much of our focus over the last years has been Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. This really gives us the reach. And this is not pie in the sky. I've been working with lots of YMCAs. With the early commitments we have, the leaders we've assembled, this can happen.
The early childhood education
Yes.
piece of this, the $1 million anonymous gift that
Yes.
you received for that, the number of centers that you've set up already, I think that will have the largest, most lasting impact on our community. Bring the children to current standards, making sure that they're getting the start that they need. That's significant, I think.
Let me give you one number about that. So in Horry County, there are about 5,000 children that are in first, second, third grade, if you look at all the schools, including Myrtle Beach. With this plan that we're doing, we will have about 1,500 of those kids a day. So that's the level of impact we're talking about across the region, in many, many sites in the schools, in our YMCAs, and of course, as we've said, Mayor, we want to do more with Park and Recreation too, through this project. But we're very excited about this gift.
Other council?
And to piggyback off of that, what the mayor just said, it is so important for the early child development. People don't realize until whenever you're around small children and stuff like that. And like, I was lucky enough that I had my child go over through the Methodist Church, the Child Developmental Ministry over there. But there's so many people that cannot afford that child care.
That's right.
Well, you've got to have child care to be able to go to a full-time job.
Yeah.
You need that particular resource and
Yeah.
stuff. So I commend you for that. I appreciate that so much. And also the swimming component of it, you're absolutely right. It is so important. We've got so many bodies of water. Big ocean over here and the pools we have access to is so important that these kids learn how to swim,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah. And Jackie, what we've discovered, there's a lot of affordable childcare here, but it's not very quality. And there's a lot of quality that's not affordable. We
Yeah.
want to do both
Yeah.
as we reach out. We don't want
thank you.
anybody not to have eligible. I know I've taken,
David, one last question
Yeah,
for
Phil.
me. Have you reached out to the legislative delegation in the era of $1.7 billion in one-time, non-recurring revenue in this year's proviso budget?
Yeah.
Have you?
we are and we have doing more of that. You'll hear us talk about a newly created Government Affairs Council that we're putting together with the Y, and it'll be made up of local leaders here to help us advance that work.
Great.
No, with the legislative piece is going to be a key component. Of course, like several of you, we'll be in Columbia tonight, and among 500 of our friends, we'll see. But yeah, that'll be a very, very big component. And so, thank you all. Great. We were so excited about coming downtown. By the way, if you've seen our new facilities, the Mission Advancement Center, that will be about 3,000 square feet downtown. That will become our hub for the region, right on Broadway, right beside the Swig and Swine. Now, that's not good because we're eating barbecue regularly.
Yep.
But between Mike's Place and Swig and Swine, we're going to be in trouble, guys.
Your waistline is expanding.
And we're supposed to be preaching healthy living here, Jack, so, we're here to answer any questions for you, anything we can do. In the meantime, we hope you'll really consider this gift. Be happy to make more of a formal presentation to you and more information. Stay in touch with the city manager and mayor and others as you deem necessary.
Great, thank you. Anybody else on council? Okay. Thank you, David. Thank you, Hatton.
Okay.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Wide people. Next, we have Kathy Jenkins from New Directions to talk about a new project perhaps here in the city of Myrtle Beach. Kathy and William.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, for giving us the opportunity to come in and talk today a little bit about what we do, where we are, what we do for the community, and what our future plans are. Today I have William Hauser with me. I don't know how many of you know William. William's been with us for 8.5 years. William was first hired when the city provided a $50,000 grant for us to launch a peer support program, an outreach program. It really didn't have anything to do with our programs, but the addiction rates were at an all-time high, and we really needed someone to be out there doing outreach. So we hired William. For 2 years, William worked by himself doing outreach with that grant. And then in 2020, the city provided us a $500,000 2-year grant to expand that program, and we called it the Addiction Recovery Outreach Initiative. And William directed that program. It was so effective. It was so effective that in 2022 it became the model for the city's opioid response team. At that time, William incorporated the peer support program into our shelters, and he became our chief operating officer. In January of this year, he was named executive director, and if his voice holds out, he's going to talk about the expansion. But what I'm going to do is kind of give you an overview of what our programs look like, the impact we've had in the community over the last almost 13 years. And so starting with our program and what we do, we offer a program 365 days a year at our men and women shelters, and we ask for a 6-month commitment for anybody who comes in. We fulfill all their basic needs, shelter, food, a bed to sleep in. They live in our shelters. And we provide case management, peer support services. We outsource everything else. We can't do it all, and there are a lot of barriers to overcoming homelessness. So we partner with over 91 resources in this community, and one of the big ones is our mental health services. We offer emergency overnight shelter at the men's shelter, but we only have 22 beds for that. There are generally more than 22 asking for overnight shelter, so we do it by a lottery system. If you don't get in tonight, we're going to put you on the top of the list tomorrow and make sure that you have a bed to sleep in. With our expansion plans, we will be able to open up space at our men's shelter to add more beds, especially for the emergency overnight need. Unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to provide emergency overnight shelter for women, except under Code Blue. And we call a Code Blue when it's too hot, too cold, too windy, too rainy. We've had a lot of Code Blues lately because it's been very, very cold, and we have been providing Code Blue services, emergency overnight services, for anyone who needs to get off the streets. What we are seeing with our women is about 20 women who come in for Code Blue. Last week, we had 91 extra men. We provide mats for them. They sleep on the floors, mostly in our multi-purpose room. It's not an easy situation for us, but we certainly don't want anybody left out on the streets who needs to get in for shelter. Who do we serve? Well, we serve anybody in the community who's experiencing homelessness. We provide shelter for men, for women, for families with children. If we have a bed available for the program that they want to get into, and again, our programs are helping people get back on their feet, and that's the majority of our program, and emergency overnight services. So as long as we have a bed in the program that someone desires, we are going to bring them in and help them. So how do we serve? Again, we provide shelter, basic needs, peer support, and case management. We also provide dinner, 365 evenings a year for anybody in the community who's hungry. We provide, thanks to the city, long-distance transportation for anyone who finds themselves homeless here and has a support system or family member that we can get them reconnected with, because they have a lot better chance with a support system somewhere else. We have a day center, very small. It's 1,000 square feet. We provide showers. We provide a place for people to get off the streets. We provide a place for our police officers to bring people who they find on the streets that need help during the day. And we are also introducing them to resources, and we're serving about an average of 35 people every single day. We provide connections to supportive services. I mentioned our 91 partners for counseling, recovery, financial literacy, employment, and housing. Our women's shelter, we have a capacity for only 27 beds. We have a picture to show you a little bit later for anybody who's not toured our women's shelter. It's at 805 3rd Avenue North. It's been there for a number of years. Our family shelter for families with children is at 975 Campbell Street. We have 55 beds for families with children. Our men's shelter has 142 beds at 1005 Osceola Street, which is also where our day center is located. And Snug Harbor, we have 4 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartments, 12 beds for people who need some extra assistance. It's mostly women who live at Snug Harbor. So what kind of impact has New Directions had on this community over the last, and we've got numbers through the end of our 12th fiscal year. We're halfway through our 13th fiscal year right now. But we have served over 12,000 unduplicated individuals in our shelters and 706 families with children. We are looking to find permanent positive solutions, and we look at permanent housing, reuniting with family or a support system, or long-term recovery. We've had 5,557 individuals and 531 families secure one of these permanent positive solutions. The average cost for us at our shelters is only $20 per person per night. And that's an average. As we move forward and talk about our women's shelter is the most expensive shelter because we only have those few beds. Our estimated savings to taxpayers in the community has been $14 million annually on a $1.3 million budget at this time, because we reduce the first responder, jail, court, and hospital cost. An average of 44% of individuals seeking services achieve long-term solutions. And as we all know, arresting people for vagrancy-type issues is much more expensive than what we are able to offer. Here is William Hauser. He is going to talk about how we can better serve the community and how we plan to better serve the community.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'm going to do my best to
He
talk
might.
to you.
He might be able to do this.
I promise I'm not sick. Friday night, I lost my voice on the way home. I had to go out of town for work, and it just disappeared on the way home. But our hope is to build this new, wonderful, beautiful women's center that we could greatly impact the community and the population of women that need it here. You know, right now, Kathy mentioned we offer 27 beds for females. Our new facility would allow us to multiply that by almost 3.5 times. It's actually 3.41. We'd be able to open up 92 beds, 22 of those which would be used for emergency services. I'm going to hand you the clicker if that's okay.
Tell me how to use it. Okay.
Button. Yeah. This is our current women's shelter. It was built in 1930. It has 6 bedrooms in there, and in those 6 bedrooms, we have bunk beds. It had 2 dens. It had an upstairs den and a downstairs living room. We've also converted one of the upstairs den and been able to add some beds to get to the number 27 that we have today. We have maximized this space as much as we can possibly maximize it. It's an old house. As you can see here, this would be our new construction. It looks very, very pretty sitting on the side of Joe White Avenue. We own the lot that is directly beside Dick's Pawn Shop. It's a 1-acre piece of land. We've spoken with them. They welcome the idea of having this wonderful building next to them. This is just an overview. In the back side of this, you can see the covered pavilion area that we would also be including in this. We look to expand our walk-in services as well as not just add this wonderful building. The walk-in center, we would add 2 additional showers to it for people that are currently on the street needing to come in and take a shower, as well as some bathrooms, and a covered pavilion where people would have a place to come and eat dinner. Kathy mentioned we offer dinner to anybody in our community 365 days out of the year. Right now, when they receive that meal, they either have to eat it standing up, holding it in a styrofoam tray. We have a few picnic tables, but they're most of the time they're full. So we would be able to offer a space that will be secured in the evening time for people to go and have a covered place to be able to eat their meal.
Everything else we have here, we have the actual drawings. We hired Tom Miller as the architect for this building and Chancel Construction to do the building. Can't hear me? But these are the drawings. You know, it's going to be very similar on the inside to the men's shelter, but we've learned a lot over the last 13 years, and we will be spending a little more on the front end to have less maintenance issues on the back end. The construction will not be sheetrock. And so anyway, we've got the potential for 70 women in the program and 22 women in the emergency overnight. We have a multipurpose room, and the multipurpose room will be available as it is at the men's shelter for overflow if we ever had more than 22 women looking for emergency shelter during Code Blues. We'll have a smaller kitchen there, and our kitchen at the men's shelter will manage all of the food for all of the shelters, and we'll offer all-day services at the expanded day center and the new picnic pavilion. So there's a place for people to be dropped off, a bigger space for people to be dropped off during the day. We would also like to expand the hours. Right now, we have the day center open from 8:30 to 4:30, 5 days a week. I think it would be really helpful for us to be able to stay open until 8 p.m. when people are allowed to come in for emergency overnight shelter. Oh, very important to this building. I talked before about our resources and the importance of having partners that can come in and help our people overcome their barriers. So this new plan, the executive staff will be on the 2nd floor, but on the 1st floor, we'll have room for our case management team as well as offices for our partners to come in and be able to meet with individual clients if they need to. But we'll have offices for our community partners, and that is not something we're able to offer at this time. Have I forgotten anything? Does anybody have questions?
Let me start, if I may, Kathy. Thank you,
Yes.
and you and William for being here. Do you have board members here as well?
Yes, thank you. We have a whole group of board members
Great.
here. My husband's here,
Okay.
and Tom Miller and Mackenzie Jordan are here, and Joey Smoke is here in support, and Tori Mackey. Hey, Tori. So, Myrtle Beach Police Department. They're big partners of ours, as you all know.
Kathy or William, I've seen these plans. We've chatted a little bit. You're not asking for financial support from the city to create this new shelter, are you?
We are not at this time. We are asking for your support to move forward. We are looking at combining the parcels. We already own the land, and we have a $750,000 commitment from the county for this building. We also have a couple of smaller commitments. Right now, we've raised about $800,000.
What's your timeline?
Yesterday. You know, our timeline is, this is so important to the community. We do have a lot of money to raise. We, right now, are just looking for the go-ahead, the support of council to go through combining the parcels and starting to really get serious about raising money. We would love to get started before the end of the year.
What's the estimated project cost?
$7.6 million. And that does include the expansion of the walk-in center and the big picnic pavilion.
As you recall from when New Directions was created, the city's goal and the community's goal was to help people move from an emergency situation, whether it's without home, whatever the case may be, into a more stable situation, rather than to sustain someone in a homeless situation,
Absolutely.
to help them move into a stable situation. And I would just ask that y'all keep that at the forefront of all of your plans so that we're not sustaining people, but we're helping move them on. I did send some feedback from a couple of CCU professors, and I don't, you were away, and just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to read that as well.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And we have worked with the CCU professors over the years, and absolutely, we are huge believers in, and what we've seen over the last 13 years is we have a lot of people out there that just don't know where to go next. And they're able to come in and to see the changed lives is just absolutely incredible. That is our goal. But as you also know, in 2017 or 2018, the resolution was changed to ask us to try to provide emergency services. And there are people out there, unless we are able to connect with people and build relationships with people that maybe have fears about coming in, you know, we're not going to be able to get them to come in. Last year in the men's shelter, we had 887 unduplicated individuals that came into the emergency overnight, the 22 beds, and 16% of them came into the program. That's kind of a high number across the U.S. I think we've been looking at less than 10%, 7% who actually are converted from being people who just want a bed and a meal to people who want the real
Escape.
help or are able to get the real help that we offer.
Council?
Kathy, one question, and again, we appreciate all of us retire at some point, some sooner than others. But in this case, could you speak briefly to any succession plan and leadership that your organization or your board may be contemplating?
Oh, absolutely. William will be my successor. And again, I mentioned in the beginning, William has been with us for 8.5 years. He's done an incredible job. He definitely has a different skill set than mine. Mine is all on the financial end, and he is incredible with clients and leadership. and he will be my successor.
Well, just saying tall shoes, big shoes to fill.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's been an incredible journey. Never in my life did I think that I would be a CEO for running homeless shelters. And it's been so gratifying. It's certainly bittersweet for me to contemplate retirement.
Well, thank you for all those years.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mike?
Mayor, Kathy and William, thank you both for a great presentation. I did get it, let me just say from the start, I did get a chance to go over and meet with William and see the plans, and I like the plan, no question about it. But let me just ask you this, because it has came across my desk that there are some concerns though from the community. So I'm gonna ask you to reach out to the neighborhood, BTW, Karen Mae Johnson, at least hear them out and let's see what their concerns are and how to address their concerns.
Okay.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So,
Can you send me an email with the contact information?
sure,
and-
I'll be glad to.
Great.
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
And if we need to help set up a meeting at
Yeah,
Mary C. Candy or something like that, we can do that.
Okay.
Anybody else? Anybody in the audience? Joey Smokes here from Echo. Any of your board members, any other comments? If you're gonna speak, Joey, come forward. If you're not, that's fine.
Good morning, everybody, mayors and council. It's a tremendous need in the community. It always has been, especially the emergency beds part for females and families, being that they have the beds for the men now. Echo works really close with New Direction, always has. We're more of the transitional permanent solution to it. So there is an absolute tremendous need with it. And we've been working together a lot here lately on some other potential federal funding that is having a drastic A to Z change. So Echo is fully in support of whatever we can do to help bring this project about.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I'm sorry? Yeah.
Hello, I know no one knows me here, but my name is Charles Lee Knuckles. I was chronically homeless for over 32 years. I came out of an orphanage. I aged out of the foster care system, and I literally ate out of dumpsters. And I came into a place like New Direction, and these two people like them changed my life around. You know, I used to pay no taxes. I was a drain on society. When my life changed, because someone cared enough, I paid a lot of taxes. You know, and I'm just saying, this is a life-changing organization, a life-saving organization. An organization like this saved my life. My wife is thankful, my family's thankful. I own my home, I live here in Myrtle Beach, and I volunteer just about 4 days a week. So I would like to say New Directions make a huge difference. I was the executive director of City Team Ministries, the largest Christian recovery center in San Jose, California. I also worked in Philadelphia. I founded an organization called the Alumni Group, which was homeless people who got homes and taught other homeless people how to get homes. And I see a lot of that going on in New Direction. I can't speak enough for it. I'm retired now, so,
Thank you. Thank
I'd
you
like
for
to thank you
being
for
here
giving
today.
us time.
Thank you very much.
sir.
Thank you both to Kathy and to William. If there are no other questions, we've got about 5 minutes here before the regular meeting starts. Are there any subjects that council wants to talk about in the last 5 minutes, or shall we take a break? Let's take a break. We'll come
Thank you
back
all
at
for
at
coming.
10 o'clock. Thanks.
I know you said you wanted to- Let me ask you,
Out the car.
would you mind
Good morning. Morning. Running a couple of minutes late today. Welcome to our February 24th Myrtle Beach City Council meeting. We've had a good workshop here and are about to begin our regular meeting. If we may, let's call to order. Ask Debbie Connor to provide the invocation. Please stand for that and our Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us take a moment to reflect. As we gather to serve the people of Myrtle Beach, may we be guided by wisdom, humility, and a deep sense of responsibility. May our discussions be thoughtful, our decisions measured, and our actions grounded in what is best for our community. As we navigate the opportunities before us, may we do so with clarity of purpose, openness to collaboration, and respect for differing perspectives. May we listen carefully, speak honestly, and work together in a spirit of trust and stewardship. Let us remain mindful of the privilege it is to serve and the impact of our choices. With gratitude for this responsibility, let us proceed with our work. In your name we pray, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, we have an agenda before us. Have you looked at it? Is it acceptable as is? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Mike and Debbie. All those in favor of the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Our next item is the approval of the minutes from our most recent meeting. Have we read the minutes? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion approved.
Mike Chestnut and Bill McClure. All those in favor of the minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Public requests, presentations, awards, and memorials. We have a proclamation for the Myrtle Beach 24-hour endurance winners. Can you win a 24-hour endurance race? Surviving a 24-hour endurance race?
Surviving is winning in my book. Good morning, Mayor and Council. It's good to have you here this morning. Before we get into the proclamations, we have two proclamations today, actually. One honoring our men's winner at the race and one honoring our women's winner at the race. The men's winner lives up in Cincinnati, so he could not be here today. But our women's winner is from the Wilmington area. She made the drive down here, so she's here to accept it. So for those of you who may not recall, or anybody watching who may not know anything about this race, this was a 24-hour endurance race in which runners had from 8 a.m. on a Saturday until 8 a.m. on a Sunday to run as many loops as they can around Grand Park Lake in the Market Common. This is something that Ryan Caputo from the Recreation Division and I have been working very hard for the last year and a half to put together, and we were very happy to make it actually work here. A few numbers to go through here. 150 runners originally signed up, which was selling out. That was our limit. We were very excited about that because that is very uncommon for a race like this in its first year. The race was originally supposed to take place January 24th through the 25th. You may remember that was not the weekend that we had snow. It was the weekend before that when there was supposed to be an ice storm. Luckily, we didn't have that much to deal with here, but a lot of people up in North Carolina who would have come down for the race wouldn't have been able to get home, so we did have to postpone it to February 7th through the 8th. As a result of that postponement, we couldn't get all 150 people who originally signed up to make the new date. 95 runners ended up showing up. Still a great number. Some other numbers here for you. We had a total of 5,371.6 miles run, which comes out to 4,970 loops around the lake, plus one partial loop for our men's winner. We did that just so that he could maximize all 24 hours. And then the average mileage for a participant was 56.5 miles, which was great to see. Those men's and women's champions who I mentioned, Pat Hassler is the men's winner on the left you see there. 156.6 miles was the total for him, which comes out to 144 loops plus one partial loop. And then our women's winner, Emily Lyons, ran 103.7 miles, which comes out to 96 loops. Some other notable performances here. Our youngest runner was Mackenzie Johnston from the Surfside Beach area, just 14 years old. She ran a total of 50.7 miles. Wow. Charlotte Carrier from the Wilmington area ran 31.3 miles in a seagull costume. And then a really inspiring performance here from a local runner from the Little River area. Brian Smeltzer is blind. He's the man you see on the left there. He ran 30.2 miles. Wow. 15 runners finished with 100 miles or more. We did a little bit of digging. It seems like out of all the 24-hour races in South Carolina's history, there are more than you might think, actually. That was the second most amount of 100-mile finishes at a 24-hour race in South Carolina's history. So hopefully we'll go for the record next year. And the record, by the way, is just one more, 16 100-plus mile finishes at a race back in 2014 in Beaufort. And this was also all for a good cause here. We raised a total of $11,476 for the Mark Child Youth Scholarship Fund, which was great to see. By the way, the picture there you might recognize that face there. That's Erin Bowling, our own. She ran 68 miles.
Wow.
Now, Meredith will get into our proclamation, starting with our proclamation for the men's winner.
I got one quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was the percentage of participants that were from out of town?
Yes.
The exact number, I'm not quite sure. I want to say it was roughly around 60%.
That's great.
Yeah,
And-
good local showing and good number of people from out of town as well.
And Patrick, is this generally a cold weather event? You wouldn't do it in July, is that an
There
assumption?
are races like this that are held in the summer. For the runner's sake and for our own sake, for the race organizer's sake, we preferred to do something cooler rather than hotter. It was still really cold though. So that
And
wasn't
did you participate in this?
I did not, no. We did have a good number of city employees who participated though. It was good to see that.
I hope Erin didn't have any repercussions afterwards. I mean, that's,
A little bit of a limp afterward, but she's okay
unbelievable.
now.
what a good job.
Great, thank you.
All right, we will start by honoring our men's winner, Pat Hassler. In honor of Pat Hassler, King of the Lake 2026. Whereas Pat Hassler from Cincinnati, Ohio is an accomplished ultramarathon runner who has demonstrated extraordinary endurance, discipline, and mental toughness by competing in many races in the past. And whereas he completed a remarkable 156.6 miles in 24 hours at the first ever Myrtle Beach 24-hour endurance run, earning first place overall and reaching the 23rd longest distance ever run by an American man in history. And whereas his total mileage came out to 144 loops around Grand Park Lake, plus one partial loop, and whereas this accomplishment reflects not only personal determination, but also serves as an inspiration to runners and non-runners alike. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Myrtle Beach City Council hereby names Pat Hassler King of the Lake for his exceptional performance at the Myrtle Beach 24-hour endurance run, congratulates him for his accomplishment, and thanks him for traveling to compete in the city of Myrtle Beach. Signed and sealed this 24th day of February 2026. Since Pat is from out of town, he couldn't be here to accept it, but he did record a quick video message for you all to check out
great.
here. We'll take a look at that now.
Everybody. Hello, everybody. Pat Hassler from Cincinnati, Ohio. Just want to say thank you for the honor of being named King of the Lake from the recent 24-hour event. Really enjoyed spending a long weekend in Myrtle Beach, even outside of the race, family. Really enjoyed the Market Commons area. Had a lot of fun with our 17-month-old little boy, doing a lot of different things, checking out a lot of different places. Stayed along the ocean, had a great view there. So just want to say really enjoyed the time, appreciate the hospitality, a lot of friendly people, and a great event. So thanks again.
Excellent, thank you. I did the math, 156.6 miles divided by 24 hours. That's 6.5 miles an hour. So that's basically a 10-minute mile for 24 hours.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's impressive.
Very.
So,
Now we can invite our women's winner, Emily Lyons, down here to accept her proclamation.
did you run down here from Wilmington this morning?
In honor of Emily Lyons, Queen of the Lake 2026. Whereas Emily Lyons from Castle Hayne, North Carolina, is an accomplished ultramarathon runner who has demonstrated extraordinary endurance, discipline, and mental toughness by competing in many races in the past. And whereas she completed a remarkable 103.7 miles in 24 hours at the first ever Myrtle Beach 24-hour endurance run, earning first place female and sixth place overall. And whereas her total mileage came out to 96 loops around Grand Park Lake, with her accomplishment reflecting not only personal determination, but also serving as an inspiration to runners and non-runners alike. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Myrtle Beach City Council hereby names Emily Lyons Queen of the Lake for her exceptional performance at the Myrtle Beach 24-hour endurance run, congratulates her for her accomplishment, and thanks her for traveling to compete in the city of Myrtle Beach. Signed and sealed this 24th day of February 2026.
Thank you, Pat, for the introduction and for this amazing proclamation. Just a little bit about myself, Emily Lyons. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina. By day, I'm a CPA and consultant at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and by night, and sometimes also by day, I am an ultra runner. So I enjoy running distances 26.2 miles or greater. I've done a bunch of them. I say that not to brag, but to say that I've had a lot of experiences at ultra running events, including running 100+ miles across Death Valley in the summer. And I say that to say that I really enjoyed this event. It was incredible. I thank you and Pat for hosting this event. When I first heard about it, I was literally the first person to sign up. I love Myrtle Beach. My family and I spent over 20 Thanksgivings in Myrtle Beach, so know the area very well and love it very much. So when I heard my friend Pat was hosting one of my favorite events, a 24-hour event here, literally was the first to sign up. So I look forward to this event next year. I've told all my friends from across the U.S. and across the world as well that this is an event that they should definitely put on their regular race calendar. So I will see you all again next January. And thank you very much. I've received a lot of awards for races. I've done over 100, and I've won a handful. I've received a Nutcracker from Hobby Lobby, a rock with a number written on a Sharpie, but this is definitely the coolest award I have won, a proclamation to be named Queen of the Lake.
Super. Well, thank you, Emily. Thank you for being here. Congratulations to Pat, long distance in Cincinnati. You said, what's the capacity for an event like this? Could we handle 500, 1,000 runners, or will the lake be too crowded?
Yeah, that's the main concern that we had, was just capacity in terms of crowding up the course, because as obviously all of you know, it's one of the more popular areas for people to walk, and we didn't close the park down or anything like that. It was still open to the public. So for next year, we'll keep it the capacity at 150 as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Emily.
Thank you.
Want to go come shake hands?
Run, Forrest, run.
I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So can we get some, a tiara and maybe a crown next year?
What's the trophy like for this?
It's just it's a nice little award. This is much better than what you get for actually winning the thing.
King of the Lake, Queen of the Lake.
Yeah.
There you go. Super. Our communications and creative services update from the staff, please.
Hey, City Council. Patrick Lloyd here with your communications update. Beach renourishment is underway on the north end of Myrtle Beach. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers contractor began placing sand between 52nd and 63rd Avenues North last week. Work will move to the Arcadian Shores area soon before heading down to the 3rd Avenue South area. Small sections of the beach will be closed as the work goes on. Myrtle Beach's opioid response team is making a difference. Since the team got its start in 2023, the opioid fatality rate has dropped by 45%, and opioid overdose calls have dropped by 47% in Myrtle Beach, far outpacing the national average. Thanks for the work you all do every day. The Oysters and Art Festival in downtown Myrtle Beach was a great success on Valentine's Day. The fire department held its annual night drills earlier this month. This training is important to keep our firefighters' skills sharp so they're ready for anything. The Thunderbolt Park Trail Extension project is about halfway done. This will connect Thunderbolt Park to a new parking lot along Emery Road. The project is expected to wrap up by the end of March. Work is moving along at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial at Warburg Park. Contractors have poured concrete in the first section of the memorial and the seating area. They'll start on the back wall of the memorial this week. Speaking of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, we are still accepting donations to help pay for the life-sized soldier statues that will be installed later this year. Donations can be made online or by bringing a check or cash to City Hall. Applications are open for the Myrtle Beach America 250 Red, White, and Remember Parade. The event is coming to the Market Common in May. You can apply by visiting cityofmyrtlebeach.com and clicking the banner in the top left corner. Looking ahead, Savannah's Playground is reopening with a ribbon-cutting event Wednesday, March 4th at 4. We hope to see you there. The Myrtle Beach Marathon is Saturday, March 7th. Thousands have registered to participate in the marathon, half marathon, and 5K. This is also the first year of the marathon's elite program, which will bring some of the fastest runners in the Southeast to Myrtle Beach. The Myrtle Beach Spring Break Track and Field meets return to Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium this spring. The events welcome thousands of athletes and coaches starting March 13th. Looking to volunteer? Visit officialmyrtlebeachsports.com. And the Myrtle Beach Downtown Alliance kicks off the Nights at Nance Spring Concert Series March 19th with Chocolate Chip and Company. Concerts are held from 6 to 8 on select Thursday nights in Nance Plaza. That's all for now. Hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you very much. We now have non-agenda items from the public. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Kate Curran.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Kate Curran. I live in Conway, but I, as most of you know, am the executive director of Fresh Brewed Coffee House next door to City Hall. And I felt like it was important to say something this morning since with the workshop that just happened, where New Directions is asking to be able to expand their shelter system. And I have some concerns that I would like to voice. The amount of social services that Fresh Brewed has taken on for the community members that we have that are experiencing homelessness is a direct result of our shelter not taking those on. And my hope is that, well, if you recall, I have been coming to the city for some years now asking why we weren't allowing them to expand, because that's what I was told by the director at first, and then asking why we're not being champions of expansion to protect women. And as most of you know, the county has come to Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach and Conway, and said they want to build an emergency shelter. And they asked for the experts in homelessness to be brought together. And so Joey from Echo, me from Fresh Brewed, Kathy and William from New Directions, and then people from all three municipalities and the county met, and they're in an RFP period right now about having an actual emergency shelter built, because that is what we need. We need that touch point. We need the emergency where you can come in, you can spend the night, and then get to where you're asking for help for services. It seems really weird that I'm standing here saying I have concerns about building an emergency shelter or building a shelter geared toward women in Myrtle Beach, but I'm concerned that we don't understand the dynamic of what is being built. You know, ask questions like, is this a recovery center? Is that what Myrtle Beach wants? Do you want a recovery center in Myrtle Beach? And as an advocate and a family member of people in recovery, and I'm probably as close to the recovery community as somebody that's not in it, it probably seems weird for me to ask that. But when they're talking about spending over $7 million, and it's not your money, it's not the city's money, but, you know, trust me, I'm gonna go to the county and say the same things, learning that they're going to have county money. Is that what we need? Is that what the city of Myrtle Beach wants? Because I think that there's some overlap. You know, I believe that it was going to provide 22 emergency spaces for women, and we only have 22 emergency spaces for men right now in our whole county. That's it. But they advertise that they're the largest emergency shelter in our continuum of care. And when I say they, I'm talking about New Directions, which that's not true. There's more emergency beds in Florence. That's part of our continuum of care. Look at their website, ask questions. If they're really just going to be an emergency or a recovery center, then if that's what Myrtle Beach wants, then cool, because we need it. We also need a detox. We also need a lot of things. But if it's going to be looked at as a solution to make Fresh Brewed not be a nuisance, because I've been deemed a nuisance, if you think that letting them expand is going to take that away, I don't agree. They have a day center that they've discontinued laundry services for over a year now. You can only shower every other day. And we're serving at least 150 people per day that come through that just need somewhere to go while they're waiting for birth certificates, while they're waiting for housing. We need low-income affordable housing. I mean, I could stand here all day and talk about this, you know. But I have concerns. If they've not been good stewards of what they've been given, why are we going to give them a bigger space? And that feels really harsh for me to say. It makes me feel sick to say that. But I think that we need to have a lot of clarification and definitions. And yeah, so.
Thank you, Kay.
My 5 minutes is up. Thank you.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes, ma'am.
You said there was some overlapping. And I know that the Family Justice Center is doing their thing. So in your talks with the county, and you said there was a meeting and stuff, is that aside from that?
So family justice is for domestic violence.
Okay.
New Directions does not handle domestic violence. An emergency shelter typically may take somebody in until they can get them into a domestic violence shelter for safety reasons, for safety for the person experiencing it, and for other people living in the shelter. You know, you don't need somebody showing up and harming others. So that's completely separate.
Okay, I just wanted some clarification there. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you know, and it, you know, what we have right now is recovery beds. It's abstinence-based recovery beds. And that's fine. We need that, but not everybody, especially in our housing market in the last 5 years. I mean, we have a lot of people experiencing homelessness because of finances, not because of drugs and alcohol, but it will lead to that quickly, so.
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
Joey Smoke was here from Echo, and Echo recently opened 2 very nice houses for women to recover. I believe 16 people in each of those homes that Echo built on its own dime. So, Madam Clerk, who else?
Henry Garbelman.
Good morning, and thank you for listening to our concerns. My name is Henry Garbelman, and I represent the Gun Sense Action Committee and other groups that are working to reduce gun violence, death, and suicide in our area. I'm a veteran, and I'm a typical gun owner. I own both long guns and handguns, and I have a concealed weapon permit. This background gives me the ability to look at this issue from both sides. We would like to talk to you about the City Convention Center and the 2 gun shows that go on there. We feel that the additional risk of these gun shows for adding gun violence, deaths, and suicides outweigh any benefits that may be obtained from the gun show. And I believe we've provided to you a copy that goes into more detail and outlines why we believe this. We need your help to reduce the gun violence and death and suicide. And one easy, positive step is for Myrtle to take in that direction would be don't allow the gun shows. Now, why? Our primary concern is that there's a strong correlation between the number of guns available in an area, and it's gun violence, suicide, and death. There are charts that are here, but if you look at our two closest neighbors, North and South Carolina, they have lower guns and lower gun deaths and violence. South Carolina ranks high in gun violence, death, and suicide. The state has the weakest gun laws and the highest gun ownership. Our study indicates an increased risk associated with additional weapons added to a county that already has more guns than it needs. Currently, there are 70 ATF licensed firearm dealers in Horry County, with 25 of those in the Myrtle Beach zip code. The dealers include 9 gun manufacturers, as well as 1 importer of weapons. This does not include the unlicensed dealers, which sell without the background check. And if you add those up, there could be another 18. It seems to be plenty of availability to buy these guns. For this reason, the gun shows are not needed. In addition, the gun shows add an additional risk that a regular firearm dealer does not. And that is, it does not require a background check for private sales. You just can go in and buy a weapon, basically, if you have the money. The background checks don't, the sales don't include or consider the individual's mental stability or his legal ability to obtain these weapons. I think you will notice, if you read our study, that closing the gun shows is justified based on the risk-benefit study. The study considered multiple issues and concerns which are outlined in the handout provided to you. It takes into account a petition drive where over 400 voters expressed some concern about the gun show here in Myrtle Beach at your convention center. In addition to all of this, a recently approved law allows every South Carolina citizen to carry a weapon in public, but does not require any training or competency check for this group. It's hard to believe that this law has made or is going to make Myrtle Beach safer, and clearly it will not make it more family friendly. These two factors have the potential for serious negative impacts on the local tourist economy as well as our citizens. Please don't appear to support or encourage additional gun sales and violence by allowing the gun shows to continue. We urge you to take the position that the risk outweighs any benefit there is to these gun shows at the City Convention Center and ask that you do not allow them.
Thank you very much.
Any questions or concerns I might answer?
We did receive your materials, and we'll take a look at them. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
sir.
That's all we're asking for.
Madam Clerk?
One more. Lori Peterson.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce the council to our work over the past 5 months to have the Myrtle Beach Boardwalk community cats spayed, neutered, and vaccinated to help manage the population. My husband and I met a gentleman that is feeding 60 or more cats at the boardwalk area. We made a plan to trap the cats and get them spayed and neutered, a process known as trap, neuter, return, or TNR. We placed signs around the area, these signs, asking people not to feed the cats as we had trapping in progress. It's hard to trap a cat that's got a full tummy. The first weekend, we trapped 3 cats. one of which gave birth to 6 kittens in my home 2 days later. We placed all 9 of those cats into homes. Since then, we've trapped another 21 cats, finding homes for 7 and releasing 14. 3 of those 14 were pregnant. With that, basically, we've reduced the boardwalk community cat population by approximately 30 cats, and so far made 14 unable to reproduce. A restaurant staff asked us to return, of 4 cats that we trapped there, he asked us to return the 2 adults because he has not seen rodents since they came into the area. We're being told now not to feed the cats. Food bowls are being removed. My signs have all been removed from the area. This is not going to resolve the situation. Visitors to the boardwalk throw down their leftover lunches, and cat food is being thrown on the ground in large amounts, getting moldy and attracting bugs and rodents. I could see from the signs that I had placed in the area that there were significantly less food being left out by visitors and local residents. Community cats that are provided regular food do not get into the trash cans and dumpsters. If they're not provided that food, they will get into the trash cans and dumpsters, creating more of a mess. Our friend feeds the cats in bowls and plates and cleans those up every day. Removing the cats will not solve the situation. Restaurants and other vendors mean a food source. More cats will move into the vacated area and they will breed. This has been seen in other communities. An article in the Sun News on April 16th, 2024 featured the boardwalk cats, calling them the cutest tourist trap in town, and specifically mentions Mama, also known as Green Eyes, a spayed cat that has lived there for several years and is still a favored resident. Channel 13 news story on August 8th, 2019 states South Carolina lawmakers and Governor Henry McMaster passed a bill in May that recognizes trap-neuter return to control community colonies. Another Channel 13 news story, August 10th of 2021, entitled Horry County Leaders Advance Changes Aimed at Protecting Animals. In this article, it states one item in the amended ordinance would allow the county to implement trap-neuter return program to care for many of the roughly 140,000 free-roaming cats that are in Horry County. The cats... Save Our Cats International is a TNR program, and they have offices in Myrtle Beach and Horry County. Cats of Myrtle Beach is another organization doing TNR in Myrtle Beach. There are many more, yet not enough. I'm asking City Council to allow us to continue the TNR work and to help control and care for the boardwalk cat colony. This would mean continuing for us to be able to feed and trap the cats. Similar to a sign that was placed in a community in Florida, I would like to get permanent signs asking visitors not to feed the cats as they are being cared for by what we call Cats of the Boardwalk, which currently is me, my husband, and our friend that is feeding the cats. I have a calling in life to take care of God's animals, and I'd like to be able to continue that with the boardwalk cats. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson.
Thank
A
you.
couple of quick ones, and a comment too. The city has historically supported TNR. We did have a Save Our Cats group locally. I don't think we funded that in a couple of years.
There are also, I ran the TNR program at the university for several years and worked with a group with Save Our Cats in the Conway area. And we found a lot of grants that also helped us do that. I don't know if you've identified grants as well, but I think it's a great program and it's a proven healthy way to maintain and lower cat populations.
I would agree that paper signs in plastic sleeves probably is not the answer, and would ask that you get with our animal control officer, Stephen Trott, and come up with a plan perhaps that Stephen can bring back to us so that we can look at it more seriously. Do you know Stephen?
I have not met him, but I know of him.
Okay, great. Chief Prock is in the back of the room. Hi, Chief. And I would ask that you make an appointment, schedule a time to chat with Stephen and see what we can do. Obviously, we have supported TNR in the past. We appreciate the work that you're doing, but need to do it in a way that has positive results at the end of the day.
There is a program that the county
to the county police. And what they do, they trap these cats, and male or female, they spay or neuter the cats, they make sure they're healthy. They have a way of marking the cats with
Yeah, they clip off the tip of the left ear.
and then, once they're healthy again, they relocate these cats back into the area. And what it does, it actually, you have healthy cats, it stops the reproduction, and it also controls population as well. But that's something I know, because we've used it well.
And I would applaud the fact that you've taken 30 cats off the boardwalk too, so that's impressive. So check please with the animal control officer and work out a plan, bring something back to us, have Stephen bring something back to us, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Any other non-agenda items from the public?
No, sir.
Thank you. Moving to the consent agenda, we have a lot of these golf cart, moped
Yes.
items on the consent agenda. City Manager?
Good morning, Mayor and Council. For this morning's consent agenda, we do have 15 items for your consideration. The first one is second reading of ordinance 2026-9, granting a franchise operation of rental business conveyance to Austin Shelley doing business as Ajax Golf Cart Rentals. The agreement includes 24 golf cart decals. Second reading of ordinance 2026-10, granting a franchise agreement of operation to Brittany B. Lee doing business as Beach Golf Cart Rentals and Sales located at 609 South Kings Highway for a period of 1 year. Agreement includes 95 golf carts and 20 mopeds. Second reading of 2026-11, granted a franchise agreement of operation to Brittany B. Lee doing business as Beach Golf Cart Rentals and Sales located at 412 6th Avenue North, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This is for 34 golf cart decals and 5 moped decals. Ordinance 2026-12 is granting a franchise agreement of operation of conveyance to Brittany B. Lee doing business as Beach Golf Cart Rentals and Sales located at 713 North Ocean Boulevard for a period of 1 year. This includes 30 golf carts and 5 mopeds. Second reading of ordinance 2026-13, granting a franchise agreement for operation of conveyance to Derek and Barbara Haynes doing business as Kickback Corner LLC located at 506 Yopon Drive for a period of 1 year. This includes 20 golf cart decals. Second reading of ordinance 2026-14, granting a franchise agreement of operation to Bayless Spivey doing business as Salt Creek Campground, KOA Campground, for a period of 1 year. This agreement includes 50 golf cart decals. Second reading of ordinance 2026-15, granting a franchise agreement of operation to Mark Cicatano, doing business as Myrtle Beach Golf Carts LLC, located at 408 3rd Avenue South, for a period of 1 year. This includes 185 golf cart decals. Second reading of ordinance 2026-16, regulating conveyances of operation to Myrtle Beach to Sarah Yackel, doing business as Every LLC, nothing over $7.99. This agreement includes 20 golf cart decals. Second reading of ordinance 2026-17, granting a franchise agreement of operation to Zavika Elia, doing business as USA Resortwear LLC, located at 1301 South Kings Highway for a period of 1 year. Agreement includes 20 golf cart decals. Second reading of 26-18, granting a franchise agreement of operation to Ari Balachi, doing business as Zeus MB LLC Happy Scooter for a period of 1 year. This includes 50 golf cart decals and 13 moped decals. First reading of ordinance 26-19, granting a franchise agreement Myrtle Beach to Ben Robinson, doing business as Rent Me Superstore located at 106 North Kings Highway for a period of 1 year. This franchise is for 30 golf cart decals and 10 moped decals. First reading of ordinance 26-20, granting a franchise agreement of operation to Ben Robinson, doing business as Rent Me Superstore 300 LLC, located at 300 South Ocean Boulevard for a period of 1 year. This agreement includes 114 golf cart decals and 83 moped decals. First reading of ordinance 26-21, granting a franchise agreement to Ben Robinson, doing business as Rent Me Superstore 1205 LLC, located at 1205 North Ocean Boulevard for a period of 1 year. The agreement includes 46 golf cart decals and 37 moped decals. Motion 2026-29 is to approve an MOU between the City of Myrtle Beach and the South Carolina Department of Social Services to continue interagency coordination and support. And finally, is motion 2630 to authorize the city to enter into a mutual aid agreement between the City of Myrtle Beach and the 15th Judicial Circuit for law enforcement, that is for law enforcement, traffic enforcement purposes.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve and a second. I would note that this is the same number of mopeds and golf cart rental conveyances that we've had last year. We're not increasing or decreasing that number. Any comments from the city council?
Nope.
Any comments from any of the applicants in the audience? Any comments from the public? All those in favor of the consent agenda as presented, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Moving to our regular agenda, please. Reading of 26-22, Madam Clerk.
First reading of ordinance 2026-22 to enact the City of Myrtle Beach Comprehensive Plan 2026.
Good morning.
Cameron.
All right, well, thank you for the opportunity this morning to come talk to you about the 2026 update to the comprehensive plan. As a quick refresher, the planning staff has been updating one element per year, with this year's focus being on the population element. The population element provides a comprehensive understanding of the people who live, work, and visit the city of Myrtle Beach. This element serves as the foundation of the comprehensive plan as it connects, influences, and supports all of the other elements within the comprehensive plan. By understanding how the community is changing over time, the population element ensures the future planning decisions support a safe, inclusive, and thriving community. And just a quick roadmap for this morning, we're going to go over some high-level data and demographic information that we found. We'll move into the key focus areas of the document, and then into our public engagement strategy. Currently, Myrtle Beach is experiencing a 3% yearly growth rate year on year, representing a total increase of 17% of our population since 2020. Have a 1,802 people per square mile density and a projected population of 42,179 as of 2025. Our age and sex, 51% of our population is female. And I want to highlight the two data points at the bottom of the green box. 18% of our population is between the ages of 60 and 69. That is the largest cohort within our community. And since 2010, the median age of our population has increased by 11.6 years, going from 35 to 47. Educational attainment was actually rather exciting. 40% of the city of Myrtle Beach has attained some level of furthering their education, whether an associate's degree, bachelor's, or graduate degree. Our veterans population is considerably higher than the national average. The national average is 6% within the population. Myrtle Beach has 7.3% of its community represented as veterans. And as a fun fact, Myrtle Beach was ranked as the #1 city for veterans in 2025, according to the Sun News. Moving into our key focus areas known as our pillars. We worked closely with the Planning Commission on this. We had 4 working group meetings with the Planning Commission to set a goal as well as those key focus areas. The goal moving forward for our population element is accommodating sustainable and intentional population growth by focusing on an attainable future that attracts emerging professionals and families to our safe, inclusive, and thriving community. Focusing on these 4 key areas known as our pillars: plan alignment, current growth, future growth, and community networks, and the policies that are contained within each will help us to advance and achieve on our goal. Plan alignment focuses on how the population element impacts all of the other plans that the city puts in place. Current growth is focusing roughly from today to 5 years into the future on the growth trajectory of our community. Future growth focusing beyond those 5 years, and then community networks, the resources that we have to help serve the populations within Myrtle Beach. Under plan alignment, these policies that have held through City Council and through our various boards and commissions will help advance on our goal, include perform ongoing collection, analysis, and integration of up-to-date population data, pursue the creation and deployment of a population and growth data dashboard, to coordinate population growth data with spatial analysis tools like GIS to identify growth trends, and to utilize population data to analyze emerging trends to align capital outlay investments with projected growth, ensuring resources are marshaled efficiently and effectively. And if at any point you all want to stop me and ask any questions, please feel free. Under current growth, to support social events and initiatives that actively engage newcomers with the local community by creating connections and cultivating a sense of belonging, to promote accessible and adaptable development that supports independent living by creating comfortable and inclusive communities, to preserve our city's unique character while fostering sustainable growth that enhances its cultural, environmental, and architectural identity, and to develop community engagement strategies to collect resident insight, feedback into the city's growth and future direction. Future growth, it's the support of smart growth management strategies to prevent overdevelopment and to protect our natural environment, to prioritize infill development to meet growth objectives, to strengthen partnerships with healthcare organizations and emergency services to address the needs of our growing community, and to collaborate with Horry County and neighboring municipalities to align population growth strategies with regional infrastructure and economic development goals. And finally, in the community network section, to promote community vitality and long-term population stability by supporting initiatives that encourage the development of schools, parks, and childcare facilities, to facilitate the support of vulnerable and at-risk individuals within our community, to establish and maintain partnerships with local, county, and state organizations to develop a database of social services available to our community, and to encourage and support events and activities that promote health, well-being, community connection in our social, athletic, and recreational spaces. Moving on from this, just wanted to highlight some of our public engagement and outreach efforts. The planning staff held 7 community engagement sessions and as well as an online survey. I did want to highlight here at the bottom, this was the largest turnout we ever had for our community engagement. We received 1,283 responses. This directly contributed to our ability to put in the community's wishes into this document.
Did you record the demographic of those responses?
Yes, we did.
And roughly who responded? What age group?
Generally, that 60 to 69 cohort was the primary. We saw higher numbers in 35 to 45 than I would have anticipated, but it was primarily 60 to 69.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead. Were those numbers based on public meetings or the community survey, the online survey?
Both.
Do you have a breakdown?
I can get that to you the next time this comes up. And at any point, if you want to look, we have all of that labeled in Excel sheets. I'd be happy to email all of that information to y'all. The 7 engagement sessions that we had 2 at First Friday Art Walks, held 2 at the Pelicans Ballpark Stadium, 1 at the Veterans Day Parade at Ballard Park, 1 pop-up at the Pickleball Court in Midway Park, and then a wrap-up meeting at the Train Depot in September. Just wanted to highlight this. This was quite fun. A lot of folks did show up, especially at the Pelican Stadium was interestingly enough. People really wanted to talk to us, so I found that was kind of fun. And then just to highlight some of the information that came out of what we learned, 53% of responses suggested that young adults and professionals should be better prioritized when directing resources and planning for future growth. 73% of responses supported cities' efforts to set population growth targets for long-term planning. And I think this was the most interesting to me. 77% of responses indicated planning on living in Myrtle Beach for the foreseeable future. So folks really do have a vested interest in the direction of their community. So that is all I have for you this morning. Happy to answer any other questions.
So you mentioned a couple of times sustainable growth, smart growth, but I don't think we have any type of specific like concurrency policy, anything like that for the city, specifically with housing developments and the impact they make on hospital, roads, schools, et cetera. And so based on this, is there a possibility for us to create, knowing that we want to move to smarter growth and sustainable growth, that we look at concurrency policies and how that could serve our community?
Sure. Currently, we can't touch concurrency specifically. There is a bill in the State House or in the House right now to allow municipalities to enact concurrency programs. So
define concurrency for us, please?
It's essentially the idea that we should not issue building permits where we don't have the proper infrastructure laid to support the development that would come as a result of that building permit. So concurrency is a topic at the state right now. I've been watching that bill closely to see where that goes. When we were talking with our residents, our smart growth strategies were really focused on things like infill development, open space requirement, green space requirement, cluster developments, and really a prevention of sprawl. So all of those and that feedback that we took in from our community is part and parcel of what we're working on with the zoning rewrite, which March 3rd you guys will hear from the consultant. So that is something we've taken to heart.
Can you send us a number of that bill, please?
I absolutely can.
Bill? And may I express one broad concern? And while I think we are all very excited about the influx of our retiree folks that have moved in here, my concern is that the young folks are moving out. I'll cite an example. The last 20 years, in the class of 2006, only one of the top 10 students in the class of Myrtle Beach High School came home. And I think we can address in our small way anything we can do to enhance economic opportunity for young entrepreneurs to excess if we can do that. And while Bluffton and Hilton Head are wonderful places, I don't want Myrtle Beach to turn into that. And I don't think my colleagues do either. We need a diverse, demographically represented population, and any suggestions you can impart to help us get there, if my group is in concurrence, a balanced population that all contribute. That's what we strive for.
I think the community echoed that sentiment, Dr. Render. When I look at, 53% suggest that young adults and professionals should be better prioritized. I think there's a recognition that the young working professionals are the ones who are going to work in those service industries that help the retirees live longer in their own home, take care of them as they age out. So I think the community is recognizing that. We went through the economic development element last time in 2024. And I think that was a good foundation, a starting point to allow us to look at how to bolster our economy in this area to attract those young professionals.
Well, they're going to be the folks that cure cancer, and our teachers, and the people we'll remember the rest of our lives are our school teachers. So that's just one example.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All very good points. I would add that you literally said protect our natural resources, and yet what we've heard from the community is they're not wild about the clear cutting that is occurring throughout the city of Myrtle Beach. We've not had a chance to talk about this, but my personal opinion is that I'm not a fan of doing this one element per year. I think we lose touch with the goals and objectives in that sense. The comprehensive plan is a large document, which is why it's called a comprehensive plan. I think we would benefit more from approaching it as a single focus to look at all of the city, not just an element per year. But again, we've not talked about that, so I don't know what council's feelings are on that. Certainly, we have an aging population. We have issues that you heard this morning during the workshop discussion that are under this population element, and it would be good to have a more timely conversation about the goals of this population element, and maybe get additional input and budget planning, all those fun sorts of things that need to go into addressing the needs of a growing community such as Myrtle Beach. Again, that's my personal opinion, not something that we've talked about at the council level. Other council people?
Cameron, just to make sure I'm clear on your slides, you showed round figures of about 1,300 respondents in total. And using 2025 data, a population of about 41,000 full-time residents. My quick math says that's about 3% response, which means 97% of the people didn't respond. I'd like to see how we, and I know it's tough, okay, but I'd like to see how we increase that to make sure that we are including everybody. It is part of the entire, city vision. What would be useful for me is, of the 1,300, was there a higher, for lack of a better description, cluster of people from one particular area? Say the Market Common as an example. So we can look and see, okay, if there is less response in a particular area of the city, we need to understand that and define it. The other thing that I'd like to point out, which has been one of my bugaboos for the last 6 years, because I have talked about uncontrolled growth, and what that means really is responsible growth. We need to look at it. As we move forward with this, and I will use a planned unit development, a general planned unit development as an example. We are where we are now. We can't go back and undo what's happened. But just as an example, let's say that we have a planned unit development and it has 1,000 ERUs, equivalent residential units. And let's just imagine that 400 of those have already occurred. And so we've got a fairly well-developed now planned unit development. I want to make sure that as we move forward, that everybody understands that what's allowed, the total amount, that 1,000, that's the top end. It doesn't mean you have to use them. Just because they're there, it does not mean that we have to use them. That needs to be part of smart growth and planned growth. Does that make any sense?
At a level it does. I think maybe I'm not necessarily the right person to be talking about. I think March 3rd with Kelly Klepper coming in from Kimley Horn, those wants and wishes, hearing about the clear cutting, hearing about ERU concerns, those are things that council definitely should bring to the consultant to make well aware as we're going through the zoning rewriting your wishes as they move forward.
I'm happy to do it.
That's the March 3rd workshop. It covers the zoning rewrite that's underway currently.
Correct.
Among other
Everybody
topics.
completed their survey on council.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mayor, if I may, we're trying to be a bit more aggressive this year. We're actually pursuing completing 2 elements, understanding the nature of wanting to complete the document as a whole. But we're trying to pick up speed and move forward in a more
At one
aggressive
point,
manner.
we did all of the comprehensive plan at once.
Yes.
Which gave the community a chance to see the entire vision, to kibitz on the entire vision, and have some concept of where the city of Myrtle Beach intended to go into the future.
Understood.
What are you asking of us today? We need to approve this element?
I believe it does, and then April 14th, the state requires city council to hold the public hearing. So we have put the ad out at this point for the April 14th meeting. It requires a 30-day notice period, so this won't be back before you until then.
Okay. And again, the conversations that went into crafting the specific goals and objectives in this singular element of the comprehensive plan are conversations that the community as a whole needs to have. Granted, you've had feedback, but at the point of giving first reading to it and holding the public hearing seems a little bit after the fact, maybe?
This has gone through planning commission as well, so people have seen it there. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Is there a motion to approve first reading of 26-22 to enact the population element of the Myrtle Beach Comprehensive Plan?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Debbie and Phil?
Debbie, me.
Is there any discussion from council? Is there any discussion from the public? All those in favor of first reading, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you all. Have a good morning.
We have a number of motions for appointments to various boards, commissions, and committees. Madam Clerk?
Motion 2026-31 to reappoint one member to the Ocean View Memorial Foundation.
Mayor, I'd like to appoint Ms. Michelle Gay.
We have a motion for Michelle Gay, who is a city resident, to serve on the Ocean View Memorial Foundation. Is there a second?
Second that.
Debbie? Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? Is Michelle here, just out of curiosity? I didn't expect her. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, number 32.
Motion 2026-32 to reappoint two members to the Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we renew the terms for both David Neese and Jerome Christia.
Second.
Mike Louder, second. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor of David Neese and Jerome Christia, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Beach Advisory Committee?
Motion 2026-33 to reappoint 2 members to the Beach Advisory Committee.
Both Tony Brumfield, and Randy Wallace, who's not Randall Wallace, are seeking reappointment. Also on file are the resumes of Barb Perrion and Lenore Landrum. Is there a motion?
Motion to reappoint David Neese and, Tony Brumfield and Randy Wallace.
And Mike Louder seconded. Any discussion from the city council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 It's good that we have folks who are stepping forward to serve on some of these boards and commissions.
Correct.
Motion 34, please.
Motion 2026-34 to reappoint 3 members to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
We have the terms of William Dixon, Blake Arp, and Amit Patel. Those expire 2 days ago. All wish for reappointment. Also on file are the resumes of Susie Dara, Dellen Goldberg, and Kenya Staten Hennigan. Is there a motion from council?
Motion to reappoint William Dixon, Blake Arp, and Amit Patel.
Second.
Debbie seconded. Any discussion from city council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor of William Dixon, Blake Arp, and Amit Patel, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, on the next motion, 2635, I need to recuse myself because my wife is up for reappointment.
Thank you, Bill. Madam Clerk, number 35 for the Human Rights Commission.
Motion 2026-35 to reappoint 3 to 4 members of the Human Rights Commission.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that the terms of Cedric Blaine-Splain, Nora Hutchinson, and Tanya Apple be reappointed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from city council? And why is it 3 or 4?
Because there's 1 vacant seat, but it requires them to be a city resident.
Okay, we have.
That's right?
Oh, well then, let me amend my motion.
Okay.
The terms of Cedric Blaine-Splain, Nora Hutchison, Tanya Apple be reappointed, and to appoint Diane Sheriban.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And Mike Chestnut seconded.
Good.
All right, any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor of reappointing Cedric Blaine-Splain, Nora Hutchinson, and Tanya Apple, and appointing to a new term Diane Cherubin, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Motion to appoint 1 member to the Housing Authority.
Wait for Mr. McClure.
Oh, sorry. Bill? Paging Bill.
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, 26-36.
Motion 2026-36 to reappoint 1 member to the Housing Authority.
Motion to reappoint John Stack, please.
You pick.
Bill and Mike, first and second. Motion to reappoint John Stack to the Myrtle Beach Housing Authority. Any discussion from council? Discussion from the public? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And that completes the relatively short agenda. They may not all be this short in the future. Yeah, Brian? You probably. Are you coming to request?
provide just two quick updates before we wrapped up the meeting. Two things, we did have the striping bid come in last week.
That was on my list, thank you.
So I wanted to preempt you asking that question, so I was able to accomplish that. We did have a successful bid. We actually ended up coming in under bid, so we have about the bid came in at roughly $160,000 to do the scope of work that we presented to you last time, which means we have a surplus of about $80,000, so we can add some intersections and some striping. I would ask, we have a running list that we can add, but I would ask if there are any specific intersections, city-owned property, city-owned roads unless instructed otherwise. If you could get that to me within the next week or so, we can add that to the contract and we can have that done. We did amend this bid to ask them to complete the work within 30 days, and they seem to be able to accomplish that. So we will be able to have some fresh striping out in the allotted amount of time. So again, I can provide you a list of what has already been included in the bid. If you want to make suggestions and email me, that would be great, and we can add that to the contract.
Thank you. I do have a couple off the top of my head. There may be others, but please do send us the list of what you have. Let's make it look as good as possible. The other part of that conversation is the state roads. What's the progress with either making an arrangement with the state whereby we can do that, or the state will come do that?
I have a meeting with the Secretary Powell tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Great, as part of the visit to Columbia?
Yes.
Yay, thank you.
No problem, so that is the topic
That's
of
progress.
conversation.
No, that's progress. Yeah, that's great. But if I need, 8 o'clock, if I need to be there in the morning, I'll be there in the morning. How's that?
But Brian, these are for city?
Yes, sir.
Okay, city properties?
Yes, sir, as of now.
I
have a list of those with me, so I'll give you a list before you all head out.
I have at least two to add to that, so, and probably more. Okay. The other item?
The other item, this is an update for many members of council. Dr. Render, this may be a new topic for you. If you recall, last year, the C-Dip Hotel was sold to Drury, which is, it's actually a very impressive brand. It's family-owned, Midwestern brand. They have acquired the oceanfront property. If you recall, the property consists, oceanfront property consists of two lots with an alley separating the middle and alleys on either end. The developer has been searching for other oceanfront property to swap as a part of the oceanfront alley swap ordinance. They have searched even prior to acquiring the property, and they continue to not be able to find oceanfront property to acquire. They have proposed a more creative property swap solution, which I've presented to you, I think, back in September and October, whereby we would swap two oceanfront alleys. They would acquire and swap the gas station at 8th Avenue, Oak, and Broadway, the one that sits in that parcel. And they are continuing to move in that direction. They have sent us a proposal with what their estimations of value would be. Next steps would be we would have to formalize the valuations. We would have to get professional appraisers to come in and do appraisals and make sure we are meeting our ordinance and at least receiving back comparable property and valuation. Before we proceed, I wanted to come back to you one more time and make sure that you were okay. Yes, sir, Councilman.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I recall that in our ordinance that you have to swap oceanfront property for oceanfront property.
I suspected that might be the question, so I
Yes.
brought the ordinance with me. The ordinance does provide language that would give you an out. I'll just read this to you very briefly. It's section 1540. In the purpose section of the ordinance says legislative action by city council will be required, and although city council will be required by the terms of this article to consider the established standard, it retains the right to approve or disapprove such actions as it believes to be in the best interest of the city based on other based on such other or further considerations as it determines to be relevant at the time. That is the language that gives you the ability to do that. Within the ordinance, there are also, as the mayor and I discussed yesterday, a number of shoulds and a number of shalls. The shalls we have to adhere to, and we can adhere to even if we swap non-oceanfront property for oceanfront property. So we can still adhere to the stuff we have to adhere to. The ordinance was written in a way that the shoulds provide you some flexibility if this type of situation presents itself. Had conversations with our attorneys yesterday, the mayor. We've also engaged in this conversation. At some point, you all may want to consider revisiting that ordinance. It was written in '94, amended in 2000.
That's my recommendation, that it's 30 years old at this point. We've swapped a tremendous number of oceanfront alleyways for other oceanfront alleyways or other oceanfront property, and the ability to do that has become scarce. I think we moved 5 to create Plyler Park at one point, 5 or 6 to create Plyler Park at one point. So we've seen great benefit from this as the oceanfront has developed and redeveloped. But it's time, I think, to revisit the oceanfront alleyway swap ordinance and provide council a slightly broader range of options other than just that. I would generally agree that it does allow this, but concurrent with this sort of conversation, I would say let's bring back an amendment to the oceanfront alleyway swap ordinance that reflects the reality of today and not 30 years ago in Myrtle Beach.
And Brian, just to be clear, what we're talking about is a swap of oceanfront access to a non-oceanfront property.
Yes, sir. We would be left in this case we have 3 oceanfront access points today. After the swap is finished, we will have 2. So we would only be losing 1. Those 2 are still 300 feet from each other. So it's still in that area of the city where we have an abundant number of access points.
That was going to be my question.
Yeah, I mean, again, please feel free to take a look at it for yourself. But I mean, it's in abundance.
Mike?
While we're waiting for Mike, just remind us real quickly, what's the total amount of this private investment?
We don't really know yet, because that's part of this process. If there's one development footprint, if they can combine the lots, there's another development footprint. If they can't combine the lots, they don't really want to engage in engineering a building that they can't build until they know what their footprint is.
Do we have a rough best guess, maybe?
My guess is it's going to be north of 150 million.
A substantial project.
Yes, sir. And it is it is a up-and-coming brand. It is a family-friendly, family-owned brand, long-term, stay in the market. It is, I was not necessarily aware of them prior to the purchase. I've become a fan.
And one of the shalls in the ordinance is that for every alleyway swap, the city will receive either $40,000 or 1.5% of the development cost, and that shall will remain in place as part of this.
It's 1%, Mayor.
1%? Sorry, 1%. Correction.
We will abide by the ordinance.
And Brian, I don't mean to belabor the point, but you say there are access points that approximate this swap property?
Yes, sir.
For public access?
We will continue to have access on either end of the property. We will lose the access point in the middle. Right now, that middle alleyway is, it's not one of our more upgraded beach access points as it is.
And Mike's hesitancy is the reason why I think we need to concurrently revisit the oceanfront alleyway swap ordinance so that we have a meeting of the minds on that.
I'll say this, that particular alley doesn't appear to be an alley. And so I just got refreshed as to which alley it is. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of swapping oceanfront property for other property, but
In reality, I think between the tip of North Myrtle Beach and all the way down to Georgetown County, I think there's really only 5 lots that are for sale, period, in that big a span. I mean, the dynamics of what our landscape looks like right now with buildings that are already existing, hotels and condos and whatnot, has changed over the past few years. So sometimes you just have to change with.
Which is the reason to revisit the ordinance.
That's exactly right.
Right, and I think that part of the struggle has been the economics of building on that smaller footprint. For them to be able to do that, they would have to have a higher tower, which we don't currently allow. So we would be telling them they have to build a shorter tower on a smaller footprint, and then economically, it hasn't worked well.
When that guesstimate hardens as to the scope of the project, I too would be interested in knowing the ballpark.
Well, how quickly can we bring back some amended language for the ordinance so that this can move
Let me
together
circle up
forward?
Let me circle up with the attorneys on that. I am not an attorney, so in my brain, that's a very simple fix, but I know it's not that simple. I do appreciate that.
I think in March, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, that would be good. And if that meets their timeline,
I think it does. I think generally, right now, they wanted to just circle back with you all one more time, making sure the sentiment hasn't changed, so they can continue down the path. They are getting into a phase of this project where they have to redirect resources one way or the other. So before they started spending real money on this project or shifted to another project, they wanted to have one more pass with you to make sure we're still on the same page. So I'm good.
while you're with us, I did mean to hold up the cover of the Municipal Association's weekly or monthly newsletter because it was talking about comprehensive plans, but I failed to do that when we were talking about
And to that point, and you all can correct me, I think we redid the comprehensive plan in its entirety, I think in 2020, but we did that with very little public involvement because of the pandemic. We came out of the pandemic with the idea that we wanted to revisit each of those elements in an effort to solicit more public input. So that's how we got on this track of doing one element per year. I think that's correct. Yes, I've got some nods. Got some nods.
Can you give us an update on Market Walk? I gather that was at CAB recently?
It did go to CAB recently. I think it was Thursday they went to CAB. I don't know the extent. They did make some changes to the commercial center, which required it to go back to CAB. From what I gather, CAB had a couple of material comments, and then they referred the project to the newly reorganized bike ped and traffic.
Because of the width of one of the sidewalks.
Right, and I just for a second on that, and I've got Janet and her team working on some options. That stretch of Howard is a city portion of Howard. The improved sections of Howard with the sidewalk and the bike lane are county-owned sections. So we were in a little bit of a quandary there where with transition of ownership, but whatever improvements need to be made to the remaining portion of Howard would be a city project and not necessarily be placed on the developer to make those improvements. So I think there was a little miscommunication there, but we are taking the comments and taking a look at what the options are.
I heard secondhand that the developer was talking about possibly selling some of the ultimate residential units that were there. My understanding was that they were all to be rental units, and that conversation may have changed at CAB.
Historically, that has been my understanding. I don't have anything to the contrary.
I had heard the same thing. Okay. That
we can find out. I'll find out.
Please.
Cost of construction in other areas, that it would be more for the developer to have a number of units as residential units for sale rather than for rent. I don't know if that changes the equation in that if you go back when the Market Walk people were here, gosh, over a year ago. But one of the things that was pointed out in terms of EPA, the cleanup and all of that, is that with a project that is all rental units, then you you only have to give notice to one entity. But if you have partial rental units and retail or residential sales, then how does that change the equation? Because now you're going to have it one to the rentals, and if you have 50 for sale, you're going to have 50 other notices. I think that's something we probably need to understand, just as a city.
Well, we would just to remind you of the path forward. I mean, so the project will go back through CAB. It'll get approval through, assuming it gets approval through CAB, it will go through the permitting process again. So, I mean, this is not the end of the story. So we've got some time to figure out if there has been a shift.
Related, we may need to adjust an ordinance so that structures which are not well maintained, such as on North Kings Highway, don't extend a building permit merely for the sake of not doing anything to the property. Does that make sense? Did I say that well? I'm not sure that I said that well.
I can't tell you if you said that well or not, because I wasn't following.
I did.
Okay, Fox did.
Okay.
We need to bring that, we need to bring that back at some point too, please.
Okay.
So there is a property that has just not been repaired after a fire. So.
And Brian, if you could you get me a copy of HR 3333, which I believe was passed last year with regard to authorities in the state that, I'm fuzzy on it, but I need a hard copy to look at if you could get that for me. Thank you.
I'll ask that one separately. Council, anything else?
I don't, not to do with that, anything at this point?
Anything.
One thing, you know, we had conversation some time back about branding, and as far as our logo, I think our branding is fine, and I'll continue to believe that. Now, if we want to talk about real branding, we want to talk about the appearance of the city of Myrtle Beach. I met with a resident last week. He presented me a slide presentation of about 20 different slides or better, and I will be giving all these slides to each one of you. And what these slides show is what people see when they come to Myrtle Beach. And I think it's for me, and I ride this city probably just as much as anybody does. And when you see it here, you see it there, you see it there. It doesn't grab you until you see it all at one time. And I think where we really need to focus is what this slide presentation shows. What people see when they come to Myrtle Beach. What people see when they go east of Highway 17. What people see along Highway 17. And I think it's absolutely astonishing. And it was no dig toward anybody, no department, no anything other than real photographs. Yeah. And even some stuff along the boulevard.
I welcome that, and one of the conversations we've had as Michelle and her staff puts together a budget is that it would be nice to have a standard look for the city of Myrtle Beach. The Market Common area looks pretty good. Grand Dunes looks pretty good. There are spots of other good-looking areas, but then there's a fair amount that doesn't meet either of those standards, and it would be nice to have a standard look for this.
And I will say, in these photographs, there is public property and private property. And so I'll gladly will provide this for our council. And he was going to go back and put the actual address at each location. And so I think he's got that prepared for me. I would maybe just give it to you or the manager. They can put it on the slide presentation or something along those lines.
Creative services, that's what they do.
For stuff for us to see and to understand. You know, I've said all along, in one of the things about the marking of the streets, you know, it's not buildings. It's really not nice hotels. It's not really major things that take place or don't take place. It's what people see when they drive into our city, at our entry points especially, and along 17. Agreed. And so, again, I think we talk a lot about what we need to do, what we'd like to do, and I'm gonna go back to what I've said for as long as I've been a member of this council. Let's take care of what we need to do. And then if we have left over, we can do what we would like to do. But there are things in this city, and we've heard presentations this morning. These are things that would be wonderful. But there are so many other things that needs to be done in this city to make our city the beautiful place that it was one time. And I'm quite honest with you, we as a city has, in my opinion, we have failed in that area.
I've said for a number of months now, we need to pay attention to the details, and that's one of the details along with the striping that needs to be done. So, speaking of the budget, we're looking at a one-day retreat at this point. You may or may not have a full-blown budget for us at that presentation, but we're looking at March 19th. Is that correct? Because you're busy sometime.
Yeah.
So, hi.
Initially, we were talking about an update on March 3rd. I'm
Right.
not going to have a balanced budget at that time, but what I would like to present to you is where our budget is and try to put numbers to the various initiatives and priorities that council has presented so far. So that we can, talk through those and see what you want us to prioritize, to shoehorn in there. And then, if I do recall, you did say the 19th for a one-day here in the city.
And we obviously will have additional budget talks after the 19th, but that's sort of the big comprehensive point. If you can have a balanced budget at that stage, great. If you can't at that point, we would understand that because it's a complex year.
Yeah. It is definitely the goal.
Yes. Okay.
Mark, let me speak to one item with regard to the budget. I saw on a tentative budget, how we do the 2 to 5 years out. I believe it was $26 million for a new Fire Station 1. And Mr. Chestnut and I had some questions, so we called the manager and asked to see Fire Station 1. And it is fairly graphic when you see what our guys presently reside in at Fire Station 1. So point being is, if you have any doubt for big capital expenditures like that, simply make the request and let our team show you. Because honestly, I had some real doubts about that before going to look. And I appreciate the senior staff for accommodating us in that respect. It was helpful.
And that's one of the conversations we hope to have with our lawmakers in Columbia yet tonight.
Excellent.
So, anybody else?
Patrick's still here. The 24-hour marathon is a great example, although the 150 runners, you mentioned, can we get it up to 1,000? But when you ask, how many people came from out of town, and it was over 50%, it was upwards of 60%. And the young lady that accepted her award here, right, it fell on me that she said, she's telling everybody, and here's a woman that races apparently, if not all over the East Coast, everywhere she can race, and she has a tremendous, probably, email list of folks that are enthused about that. And I just thought, what a great promotion for this city. It didn't cost us a dime. So, Patrick, thank you.
Yes.
Got one more thing,
Sure.
Mayor.
Go.
I participated in an event with our new superintendent of schools this past week on campus, and we started talking about, he is very anxious for new partnerships, et cetera. I'd like to invite him to come speak to council. He said he would love to come to city council. I think that's a relationship that's really important to us, and I think he's got some really good things going, and he could specifically speak about the schools in our municipality as well. And so maybe we can bring him in April or May timeframe, if that's a possibility, to a workshop. That'd be great.
We'll send the invitation and see what we can do.
Okay.
I know Bill and I attended over the weekend the Carolina Master Chorale presentation.
As was Mr. Chesler.
Oh, were you there too?
And the master choral?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, I thought I saw you there.
that was my twin.
You don't have it.
Mike Chestnut has a twin. They expressed appreciation for the accommodations tax funding that council granted recently. Also attended the ECHO fundraising event Saturday up at Pine Lakes International Country Club. So, any other comments from city council? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.